Welcome to That They'll Podcast. I'm your host, Danielle McPherson.
And I'm your host, Lily Carr.
Our episodes are brought to you by Rose Hill Library, and today's guest is Mrs. A. Before we have her join us, make sure you follow Rocket Productions on Instagram and Facebook. If you've missed any episodes, you can find the Rocket Productions Network anywhere you listen to podcasts. So how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are the K sponsor, right?
I am. Mrs. Coffee and I sponsor K Club here at Rose Hill.
How long have you and Mrs. Coffee been doing that?
This is our third year. We took it over from Nurse Terry.
All right.
What is just K's overall all about?
So K stands for Kansas Association for Youth, and it's actually a club that is very unique to Kansas. Kansas is the only state that has K Club. It was founded decades ago by a woman who saw a need for citizenship and service in high schools. And so that is our focus. It's focused on community service as well as leadership and developing those things in fabulous members like yourselves.
Aww.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you said that was only in Kansas. Are there other clubs throughout the United States kind of like this that just aren't called Ks?
There might be, in different states there's other civic type groups, but usually they aren't connected to the high school. There's Junior Legion in other states, but that's outside of high school, and so it's something to be proud of for Kansas.
So other than Nurse Terry leaving, what got you into this club?
That was the big thing.
That was it, yeah.
Nurse Terry had a fabulous club for lots of years. She and Janice ran an amazing club, and Mrs. Coffee and I stepped up because we didn't want to see it fall by the wayside, and we've really enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful opportunity for both of us.
Have you and Miss Coffee, have you changed a lot of things since you started?
We've tried to get better and more streamlined about things. Nurse Terry definitely had processes and procedures that worked really well for her. Mrs. Coffee and I did change some things about the lettering requirements. Nurse Terry's system was 75%, but it was throughout things, and we've split it so that you have to attend both 75% of meetings and 75% of activities, and that way we keep kids coming to the meetings. We've also made the meetings, I think, a little bit more structured, at least than we think Nurse Terry was doing, and tried to always incorporate a service activity with every meeting. And we have some great officers who are really good about doing games and that engagement piece. And one of the focuses our officers are really trying to do this year is stepping up our involvement with the leadership aspect, and that's why Claire ran the leadership seminar. And we're going to try to do some things to bring out the leadership part of K a little more too.
Yeah, because I don't know. Hold on, this is second year? You've been in here since freshman year.
Yeah.
So that's
Lily keeps
third.
bringing folks
Lily,
on. It's exponential growth because of Lily.
I've made all my friends do it.
I love it.
But it just feels like the differences from this year and last year, everything just feels a little bit more structured. And maybe that's because I know what I'm doing now, but I don't know. It's just
and part of that is it has been intentional with the board and Mrs. Coffee and I. The first year it was kind of we were just going with the flow, kind of learning from those officers who had Nurse Terry. And then this past year and the year before, we've really tried to structure it some more.
Why do you think kids should join the club?
I think it is a great way to get to know people, get to know your community, develop just the lifelong leadership and service skills that can really serve you. A lot of kids join because it's a way to pad their resume, and I think they end up finding out that it's lots of actual fun. It's neat to see the different organizations around town and around Wichita that serve our community, and they love things like book buddies. So
I was gonna say I never did much community service before, and then once I did K's, you just see all the different activities, and when you do it with friends, it's so much fun.
I was just about to say that. I was doing Operation Christmas Child or going to go get cans throughout the neighborhoods with everybody. It was just fun because you could have kind of a support group while you were helping other people.
That is awesome to hear, and that is the goal, is to get you all to start to notice that there are so many nonprofits and organizations that help make our communities run and help make them a great place. And so that's awesome to hear that you're noticing those things and getting involved. Yeah.
We'll be right back with Mrs. A after this commercial.
The Rose Hill Library started out as a community library at the school. Their hours are 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, and they're closed on Fridays and Sundays. They have nearly 10,000 items to check out, and all you need is a library card. They also have story time on Mondays at 10 a.m., and during the summer they host summer reading programs. The library can also fax and scan documents to a flash drive and make copies for you. You can contact them at 316-776-3013.
Barron Concrete has been working locally and commercially in the Roseville area since 1980. They've been a part of major projects in the Roseville and Wichita area that have helped shape the community we know of today. If you have any questions, please contact them. They are open Monday through Friday. You can reach them on their website at barronconcrete.com or 316-618-6087.
We're back with Mrs. A on That Though podcast. So talking a little bit before we transition into Snowball, what are some upcoming events for Ks that students can look forward to?
So for K Club members specifically, the board has come up with the idea of hosting the 10 days of K-Miss instead of Christmas.
I've seen
Okay,
that, and
yes.
I've looked at it, and it
And
looks like fun.
they actually have come up with some fabulous ideas. You all are broken into teams. Each team is led by an officer, and there's some different challenges. There's some service type things, but also some fun challenges. And hopefully a chance to connect with your fellow K members and have a little competition at the holidays. As far as open to all students, on the 16th of December, which I think is a Monday, there will be Cocoa and Cram, which will be in the library, and students are welcome to come enjoy some cocoa. We'll have some games, some brain teaser type fidget things that kids can play with, and also a chance to study. And if kids want to come to that, we just ask that they bring a can of food, which we will donate to the local food bank.
And I mean, something that's happening this Saturday is Snowball, and that's like our main fundraiser, right?
Snowball is K Club's main fundraiser. We raise funds not only to donate to nonprofit and fund our service projects, but also because we send kids to camp in the summer. We send the officers to something called Kansas Leadership Camp. It's a week-long camp up by Junction City, and it helps kids learn about K and get motivated for the year and connect with other clubs. And so we were fortunate to send 4 officers last year, and we'll send some more this coming summer.
So when and where is Snowball?
So Snowball is here at the high school on Saturday night from 8 to 11. Doors will be open at 7:45. And even though it's just in the Commons, we always do a good job as a club of transforming the Commons with some awesome decorations. And so don't think it's at the school, like I don't want to come. It will be different. It will be lovely.
Do you want to give a little bit of insight about why we're not doing a royalty this year?
Absolutely. So over the past few years, not only Mrs. Coffey and I, but Mrs. Evans has struggled to get enough kids to vote, even to choose the candidates. For example, last year, when the forms were sent out to get juniors and seniors to choose the candidates, we only got about 40% of each class to vote on the candidates. And then when we actually send it out to the whole school to vote or give slips of paper to vote, we experienced that at least in terms of Snowball, we could never get really more than half of the school to even vote on who the king or queen was. So Mrs. Evans, Nurse Forgy, and Mrs. Coffey and I met in May to kind of talk about some ways of addressing that and making it more meaningful in hopes that kids would get more involved and be more interested in it. And Mrs. Evans has made some great changes on her end as far as how she runs the homecoming royalty, but one thing we decided in that group meeting was that Mrs. Coffey and I would take the royalty piece out of Snowball in hopes that having just 3 courts throughout the year, it would be more meaningful, more people would be interested in voting, and also more people would be willing to be candidates. Because one other problem we had experienced is we would ask people to be candidates and serve on the court, and they would say, no, I want to be prom king instead, or I don't feel comfortable being in front of people. And so hopefully this makes the remaining 3 courts more meaningful without taking away.
So is that something you're not planning on bringing back in like at least the next couple years?
You know, we will see how this year goes, and if there's a huge outcry and kids say, oh, we really miss that, that, Mrs. Coffee and I are always open to changing, but we haven't actually had any negative feedback yet. And we'll also see how this affects the homecoming and prom court, and if they're able to have more involvement with those, then I think probably it has been a good decision to leave Snowball out of the running.
Can you give us some details about tickets and like selling and how much and all that stuff?
Absolutely. So tickets are on sale during lunch all this week. And you can also come to the library on your own time and buy tickets. They are $15. And with that $15, you get a keepsake ticket. And we'll get your name on the list and get you in the door on Saturday.
So like you don't need a ticket to actually get in, you just need your name?
Yes, exactly. So the ticket is keepsake only. You do not have to bring it on Saturday with you. The list that we make with the names is how you get checked in on Saturday.
But it's so fun doing the tickets and like
Yeah.
making them. I just like the key one last year. That one was fun.
That was one of the best ones.
Yeah.
What are the rules for the dance?
Just come, have a good time, be respectful, treat the property with respect. We had some problems with kids throwing water last year, so
I
we'll
remember that.
try to avoid that this year. We'll have some treats and snacks there that everybody can enjoy, and we'll have a coat check again, which is always a hit. So if you don't want to have to carry around your wallet or your jacket or your shoes all night, we'll check that in for you.
Perfect. So what is the theme? Like, what's the dance kind of going to look like?
Yeah, so it is Great Gatsby Roaring Twenties theme. So the K-Kids have chosen a lot of black and gold decorations. If you've been at Snowball before, you'll remember there's kind of a fancy entryway, and we have another fancy entryway planned as well. And so,
Are we still doing the pillars?
Nobody ever decided on the pillars. We have some extra stuff we could put on the pillars if we wanted to, but
Okay.
yeah.
Are we, the fountain's still going to be there, right?
We're
doing the
there's
fountain?
a fountain.
We're doing the fountain.
In the works, yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
I always love seeing the snowball decorations and setting them up,
Yeah.
and it's just always really fun.
Yeah.
Especially because it's our only semi-formal, not
True.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. Because even when where's prom hosted? What's it called?
It's a church.
That
in
church.
In Andover, the
Yeah.
church,
Yeah.
I don't know
But
the name
it's
of it.
it has its own decoration, so prom isn't whatever. But we really get to see the school kind of
Yeah.
change a little bit, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So speaking of the dance, and what it's gonna look like, what do the kids in the club have to do to prepare for that?
So the kids in the club have actually been preparing for the last few months. Shortly after the beginning of school, the club voted on the theme, and Roaring Twenties was chosen, and then there was a team of members, including yourselves, who came and kind of gave ideas for decorations, and we had a couple prep nights a couple weeks ago where we painted and did some things, and we'll make some treats on Thursday. And those are, K-Club members have put in a lot of time, and they'll put in a lot more time this week between making treats and setting up on Friday.
Perfect. So that was all the questions I had. Do you have any more, Lily?
No.
Perfect. Okay, so we have 3 would you rathers real quick. Are you ready?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Would you rather be a math teacher or a science teacher?
Oh, math. I love math.
Math.
Math is so awesome, yes.
Mountains or beach?
Oh, mountains.
Mountains.
Hiking and skiing, yep.
Okay. Would you rather have a night in or go out?
Oh, that one's harder.
Yeah.
Probably go out.
Go out.
And, do something fun. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Perfect.
Thank you for having me
Yeah,
on, and thank you
yeah.
all
So
for being
much.
such great K members.
Thanks. And thank you for watching the podcast. If you missed any episodes, you can find them wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you follow Rocket Productions on Instagram and Facebook. I'm your host, Danielle McPherson.
And I'm your host, Lily Carr.